Okay, the doors are closing. Welcome everyone to Hot Dirty Sets. I hope you guys are excited. That's what I'm loving in the US. So I'm from Germany, and at the end you may get something like that, but not at the very beginning. So glad you're different. So 1.5 years ago, I was giving a similar speech in Berlin. And it was actually also day 2 when I gave the presentation. And after day 1, I went into the bus, and directly in front of me there were 2 girls from a logistics company in Germany, and they were talking about the first day and how everything went well. And then one girl was asking the other, like, okay, what are the sessions you're going to visit tomorrow? And she was responding like, well, I don't know, but I think I'm going to this hot, dirty, sexy session over there. Well, I was changing my talk to having the presentation for hot, dirty, sexy the other day. So I thought like it would be appropriate doing that here as well. I don't know if the guys at the door told you about the fact that this session requires you to be 18 plus. So it does contain strong graphic sexual content. So, and I don't know if you were in some of these sessions which require you having a certain age, but in Germany we do that in the way that you define a safe word at the beginning. So that if you see something which does not feel comfortable to you, that you can shout out that safe word. Well, so we at Tableau, every release has got an animal name, right? So like a safe word for us internally, but it has another meaning. Well, I was thinking about what kind of animal could it be? What could the safe word be? And I was searching for something like typical German, and I came up with that. Well, you now might wonder, why is that typical for German? Well, I was thinking about like the European Championship we had in France the other month, and that's like, yeah, we have that animal over there. But then I was like searching for that animal together with USA. And then, yeah, Google was showing me that. So that is like more, I don't know, scared, angry version of it. So I was like, I don't know. So I was like, maybe I should change the safe word to something more typical German. So the safe word for today is the following.
Papillon.
Butterfly.
Farfalla.
Mariposa.
Schmetterling.
Schmetterling. So, can you guys say that? Schmetterling? Wow, yeah, so that works. I mean, so now, safe word is Schmetterling. So whenever you see something which is inappropriate, just shout Schmetterling. So I hope you remember that until the end of the session. Well, so I was thinking about how could I introduce myself for a hot, dirty, sexy session. So I was doing that in this way. So my name is Timo. I'm working for Tableau since like roughly 3 years. I'm in the consultancy team in EMEA. I love beer, of course, Oktoberfest and Lederhosen. And here's a fun fact. So last year, when we were in Las Vegas, I was giving a speech by wearing German Lederhosen. And that was just for fun. And the other one was I was doing an analysis on web traffic on our website. And during September, October, you could see a drop in Munich. And I mean, the reason is obvious. But I was having a co-speaker, and I was giving him another German Lederhosen. Well, I was sending an email the other day like, hey, you might want to bring the German Lederhosen back to me when we are here. Well, he left the company. Now he's in New York working for his own. So if you see anybody in New York wearing German Lederhosen, please tell him that he might want to send his Lederhosen back to me. I'm also loving Tableau so much that I have a blog. It's called tableaufans.com. And I'm loving live music. Okay, so I was at 3 festivals this year. The first one got canceled by a thunderstorm. That's the picture on the top right. The second one got canceled after 1 day because of too much water. And the third one, I didn't even receive a ticket. Right? So I paid for it, but I didn't get a ticket. So it's still in process. Yeah, let's see. So before somebody decides to cancel this event as well, let's start with a hot, dirty, sexy session. So first of all, what is the agenda? So I expect you to have a high passion level throughout the session. I mean, that's not a problem for you. But it's like the minimum passion level you should have. So we start with the content about the data set. What is the data set or the two data sets we're having today all about? And then we're talking about basic things about sets. So constant sets, dynamic sets, and putting sets together before we are going to do some sexual analysis. Okay, so first of all, what is the data set all about? So the data set really models the behavior of us as Homo sapiens. And actually it's retrieved by really high cost from two different dating apps. And maybe I introduce you to the very first one. So one of these data sets is something like this. So I will just go to tableaufriends.com to show you something which is similar like that. So it's called Swipe Right. And just replace Swipe Right, like the image of a Tableau public viz, with a human being. Okay? So at this time, that's Shine. And if I love him, then I put him to the right. So I give him a like. Right? If I don't like somebody, I put him to the left. Well, so this one working a little bit different because it's either cool or you love it. But yeah, so the app where I got the data from, that's working like that. So you like it or you don't like a certain profile. Cool, really simple. But I promise you, there will be stuff in there which is like interesting. So yeah, it's enriched by experts. So on top of just the likes and dislikes, there's some stuff in there where we have a look at. And I tell you, you should be ashamed of being part of the Homo sapiens, and you will see that during the session. Okay, first of all, I mean, we had an election last night, so who of you wants to have like the safe version of the whole data model? Okay, who does want to have the unfiltered version? Well, I was kind of guessing that, like you can. So I don't know what I would have done with the first one. Okay, so let's get our hands dirty. So that's actually a picture of one of these festivals. So people, even if it got canceled, people were enjoying it. So hopefully for you it will be similar today. Okay, so let's have a look at the data. So first of all, what you see on the left-hand side, of course, dimension measures. So like our two measures for today, the most important ones, are the likes some people received and likes others were giving. Okay, so let's just put that on a scatter plot, likes received, and then the likes given. And then let's bring all the different IDs of everyone in that app on the ground over here. Okay, now we have just, 12,000 different users within the app. And now let's start to create our first sets. So, like I said, here we have likes received. So people who are in this corner received a lot of likes. Okay? So these guys over here, these are our stars within the app. Okay? They receive a lot of likes. So what about the people over here? Well, they don't really get a lot of likes, but they are swiping a lot of things to the right, saying like they like a certain profile. So these are our frustrated ones. It's hard as it is, I tell you. And I mean, currently we're working with user IDs. When it comes to usernames, maybe some of you want to leave the room. It's okay. And yeah, I mean, what do we have over here? I'm not really sure. So these are people who get a lot of likes, but they're also like a lot of other people. So these are our freaks. Okay, cool. So now we created a couple of sets, and what can we do with them? I mean, first of all, of course, we can take them to see, okay, where are our frustrated ones? And then we just see that visually where they are, as well as for the frustrated, where the freaks. So we just highlight them. I mean, of course, we could also go ahead and just take a certain group, put it on the filter to just see that particular group. What else is possible? We can take like a random set of new IDs, and then we can say, well, I want to put them to one of the sets we created. One last thing maybe to mention, we can also take several ones, put all onto the color shelf, and now we have like a permutation of all that. So these ones over here, they are in the first set, so in the freak set, but not in the two other ones. This one is like not in the first one, but in the second, and not in the third, and so on and so forth, and all these ones which are not in the set at all. Okay, but that's not really spectacular, so let's move on. How could you use them? So if, for example, I ask the question, where, like geographically, are the frustrated ones, like based out of? Let's see. Okay, so let's take geographical information. Let's take our countries, and let's drill down a little bit so that we get a more granular level of detail. So let's get down to the city level. And now I want to see where all the freaks are. So let's put them to the colors. Well, there are some at the like West Coast over here, and Australia seems to be a good place for freaks. More interestingly, where are all the frustrated ones? So let's put them down here. So there's some guys over here, and also London seems to be a place for them. I don't know if the stars are somewhere around in particular. Not really. So, okay, it's a quite mixed group over here. So this was like really the most basic thing we can do, like create constant sets. So we define them based on a single dimension. It's static, so once we have new people which are frustrated, they will not show up because we didn't define it dynamically. And yeah, it's great for a one-night stand, so if you just want to have that for a particular time. But you can edit them, so you can add members or remove them. Okay, if we talk about constant sets, of course we should have a look at dynamic sets, how to create dynamic sets. So therefore, I want to introduce you to the second data set, which is even more embarrassing than the first one. That's why I called it XXX. So this one is really, think about it like Facebook, okay? So you have got a profile, you have a description, you have age and like region and stuff like that. But you can also type in like what are you searching for? And that's not just, okay, I'm a man searching for a female, but you can also say like, well, why do you want to meet or something like that. So we will deep dive into that. Okay, let's have a look at the top 50 profiles. So I have created some scores. So based on the popularity of a certain profile, there are different scores which we can use throughout the analysis. And what I want to do is I want to have the top 50 like users within this data set based on the score we enriched the data set on. Okay, so let's put all the nicknames, and you can see these are like 242,000 different users in here. So let's sort them by the profile score. Okay, I bring them all in. And yeah, now these are my most popular ones. So now I want to have like the top 50 of them. So now I'm going to the nickname in this case, and I'm going to create a set. And of course, like I said at the beginning, I can choose them, like really pick and choose every single one of them, like we did that at the very beginning. I can define a set based on a condition. So whenever you can write a calculation for it, you can do so. And one of the most popular ones is like, yeah, creating a top or bottom kind of set. So let's say these are my top 50 profiles. And now I can take that set, put that on the filter shelf, and I have dynamically my top 50 profiles based on the profile score. And I can also make this part of the data source to say actually, okay, I just want to give my users internally the ability to have a look at the top 50, 1,000, 1 million top customers, products, or whatever it is you want to analyze. Well, I want to change the color here a little bit. I'm not into green, so let's change that. And you might see where that goes to. So these are 50 shades of gray. Okay, let's move on. So this was our dynamic set. Yeah, they are not really spontaneous, but of course, I mean, it's not a big thing to create them. It's dependent on your calculation, how complex it is. It's great for long-term commitment, so you can also make that part of your like published data source that others can use that. Not just pre-filter it, but make it available to others. And yeah, I think it's really popular and common use case, having top and bottom kind of things. And that's why we're doing the next thing. Who of you is aware of a Venn diagram? All of you, okay, so sometimes you're joining data, that's good. So for all of you in the room who are not available, what a Venn diagram does, so if you take the set of all people in that app who have a seductive look, and then you take another set of all the Europeans, and you put that together, you get something like this. Okay, but I give you a more like a use case which you may want to use more often. So what I'm interested in is I want to analyze the BMI for all of the different countries we're having here. So let's take the BMI, and I want to break this down by country. So let's go for geographical information over here. We have country, and let's break that down. Okay, now we see like really heavy weighted Slovakia, Hungary, South Africa in that app, and then down here is China, Hong Kong, Japan. And I want to have the top 5 and bottom 5 elements. And this is really common. So let's start with it, and then you see like the specialty of it. So first of all, we do the same thing what we did earlier. So we're just taking the top 5 countries by BMI. So top 5 BMI countries. And let's spell it correct. And of course, now this is just working like we had it earlier. So I have my top 5. So think about how you would move on. If like your manager would ask you, okay, give me top 5 and bottom 5 products. You would go like this, like you would duplicate the sheet, and then you would also duplicate because you're efficient, and you also duplicate your set, and you edit this one, and you just say, okay, this is my bottom 5 BMI countries, and let's define that just as bottom ones, and here you go. Now I have my bottom ones, so I just need to replace this filter, and then I have the bottom ones. So does some of you already see the problem with that? Let me bring that on a dashboard. So let's take my top ones and my bottom ones. So what is the problem with this view at the moment? The scale, right? So it's showing me the top and the bottom 5, but I can't really compare them because here's 28 and here's 22. Okay, so it's hard to compare. So why not using a combined set for something like this? So now I'm taking my top and my bottom profiles, no, top and bottom countries, and I'm going to create a combined set. And here you see like the Venn diagram again. So always think about my picture when you're doing that. And then you have different options. Okay, so one is you can take both, top and bottom in this case. If you do more of a satchel analysis like at the beginning, you can say, okay, just the ones which share a certain dimension. Also really interesting to do analysis on that. Or just one set, but not the ones which are interfering, and the same over here. So what I want is both, so let's call that top and bottom BMI countries. And by the way, give them always a meaningful name. Okay, top and bottom ones, put that in here. Now we have both. If you take one of these on color now, so then it's easier to see that. And now you can easily compare like both sets with each other to being able to do these comparisons. You can put an average on that and so on and so forth. Do you like that? Thank you. You're a fun crowd. Loving it. So we can move on. And nobody was shouting out Schmetterling. I mean, maybe you forgot about it, but it's still there. Okay, so combined sets, of course, allowing you to combine several sets. You can do multiple ones. And it's also not a statical thing. So think about it. If I now change one of these two sets to show me 10 values rather than 5, that will apply to the combined set. So let's change the top 5 countries to be the top 10 countries. And then you will immediately see that, even if it's like a new set, right? So it's referencing to it rather than just creating a new static one, which is really powerful. Okay, you can easily add complex calculations to it, what we're going to do in a couple of minutes. And of course, you can also make that part of the data source itself. Okay, sets in uncommon places. So now here's the first question for today. So can you use sets in calculations or in hierarchies? Who is for sets? For calculations, sorry. Sets, it's all over. Okay, calculations, some of you. Who is for hierarchies? Okay, who's for both? Yay, it's both. So you're both right. Yeah, so let's do that and see why that could be an interesting thing. Okay, so sets in hierarchies. So I have a hierarchy over here, which is just showing me from gender, age, nickname, profile capture, and so on and so forth. And I already have, maybe I switch back to this data set. So that was our Tinder-ish kind of data set, the swiping data set. And I have a drilling thing over here as well. So we just have gender, age, and favorite activity. Okay, now I want to add Germany as one set, which contains all the Germans. And I put that just as part of this hierarchy. And you see it's copying it over here, right? It's not moving that away from down there. And I'm also taking seductive glance and put that down here. At least I try. Okay, so now let's use that. So I'm going to take gender, and I'm drilling down. So the first thing you see now is, okay, there are some female which are Germans and some not, and it's showing me both. So there's a specialty about sets in hierarchies. You can do a right click, and you can tell Tableau, hey, just show me the members which are in that set. So now I'm just seeing male and female for Germany. And now let's drill down further on. No, the other way around. So now we have the age groups, all the different age groups. We have favorite activities. And what else do we have? Another, seductive glance. So again, now I have all these different rows, and they're showing some of them do have a seductive glance, or at least describe their self that they have one, and others not. And again, I just want to see the ones which are part of the set. Now that reduced the whole thing quite a lot. And so let's see who of these people do have the highest matching rates. And you see there's one really big outlier over here. So his matching rate, so he's like loving festivals, has seductive glance. Who is that? I'm really interested in that. So let's take his name, put it on label. What the heck? So it's Timo. So now you think it's a fake. Well, it's not. But I have the data, so I know what I need to focus on my profile, right? So let's see what I did. So one of the analysis I did up front was I was really interested and curious about what is the profile description or the words in my profile description I should put on so that I have a higher chance of matching with other users. So therefore, I was taking, likes received, that is the most important measure for me. And I wanted to know if I do need to have a positive or a negative like sentiment on my profile. Who of you is aware of like sentiment analysis? Some of you. So we were taking the data of that app and then scanning with R, like there are libraries for R, where you can scan the profile text. And then we'll do a lookup to a library and see if that is a positive word or a negative word. And then it would score it and tell me if a profile is positive or negative. So let's take that sentiment and let's see what kind of sentiment you should have in your profile to have a higher chance of matching with somebody else. And there's one interesting finding in here, like you can see. So if you have a negative profile or words which describe you in a negative way, you have higher chances to match with somebody else than having like a neutral one. So better go back to your profile, change that. Okay, but I was not just curious about the sentiment, but also in the words I should put on my profile, which describe me. So therefore, let's take all the different words which are out there, and maybe we switch that a little bit. So now these are words which get rated positive, negative, or neutral, but I am just interested in the positive ones. And I want to have like the top X kind of words which I should put on my profile. So let's create another set. So I'm going to the about me, like the description, creating another set based on a condition again. Let's top X and by the field like received. And instead of a static number, I'm going to use a parameter. Let's call the parameter x, x, x. And yeah, we just go for 10 values at the beginning. That's fine. Okay, so now let's pull in the parameter. It's not doing anything so far. Just if I start to filter on my new set, like the top X profile descriptions, so let's filter on that. And here you go, with the top words you should have on your profile, which is stunning, great word to have on your profile, beautiful hands, wooden leg, not sure about that, big, thin, happy. Okay, that's the kind of things you should have on your profile. But there is one problem with it. You see, we have 9 marks, and our parameter over here is saying 10. So this is a question where you can win a Tableau t-shirt. Why is that? Why do we just see 9 values rather than 10 in this example? It's just one who can win that, so you need to raise your hand, and then, yeah. Say it again. It's not this problem here, yeah? Great, awesome, give him an applause. So the thing over here is if you have something like a set on the filter, it will always apply first. So if I remove the sentiment for a second, you see there's a 10th row showing up, which is annoyed, which is obviously not a positive word. And but it's one of the most popular terms, which receives likes. So some people are liking that because maybe they feel the same, so they're like connected to each other. Anyhow, so how can we solve that problem? Yeah. That would be a possibility. What is like even easier? Yeah? Yeah, cool. So context, if you add a certain filter to a context, that's the easiest way to say, hey, apply that filter first. Okay? So if I do that, see what's happening. Ding! There's a new word, proud nerdling. And yeah, so now it's working in the way you expected. So when you're having these sets kind of things, which also can happen, for example, if you have a dashboard, filtering on something, that is creating a set as a filter, apply that technology to it or that way of dealing with it, add it to a context, and then you will filter first on positive, and now it will just show me the top 10 for positive. Okay, so remember that tiny little thing, yeah, add to context. It's really powerful. Cool. So that was sets in calculated fields. Let's see if there is something else. The demo, that was it. Cohort. Let's do a cohort analysis. Who of you did a cohort analysis with Tableau at least once? Some of you? Did you do it with LODs? Some of you? We will do it without LODs because, I mean, what is a cohort, like generally? I will read that. A group of individuals having a statistical factor, for example, age or class membership, in common. So we will find a group which has something in common to do further analysis. Okay, let's deep dive into this part. So what's really important for me next to having the right words in my profile is where do I need to be, like geographically or from like a certain place perspective, so that I increase my ability to get many likes. So again, let's take our 2 most important measures, the likes I can receive and the likes some others are given, and let's break that down again by our different sentiments. And now, I want to get all the different locations, types of locations which are out there to figure out which are the locations I should be at. So let's put that on label. And now I see all these different things. So on the street, parks, retail store, food restaurant, coffee. So these are like the kind of areas people are based out of to actually use the app. So I just want to filter on the ones where I'm like most often. So I am in bars and clubs. Coffee's not really too often. Fitness, I would love to. Restaurant, and on the street. Okay, so these are like the top 3 areas where I am at. Oh, where is that? Where is that? Over here. Music in the middle of nowhere. We should call it like differently, like festivals next time. But then I make sure that it's really on top. But I mean, I was not too lucky at festivals in terms of, I mean, it got canceled all the time. Okay, anyhow. So I want to know, where do I have the highest matching rates? In which of these locations? So therefore, I'm going to take a new measure on top of it, which is the matching rate. And I make that a little bigger. So now, if something is blue, then of course the matching rate is really high. If something is red, it's really low. And I already see that bars and clubs over here is like the #1 place. I would love that one, but it's not. So, okay, bars and club, that's the place to be. And so I want to take that as my first set, as our cohort. So these are positive profiles and bars and clubs. Well, and if you do cohort analysis, it makes sense to compare that in a similar context. So let's highlight all the other bars and clubs. And yeah, we see down here the matching rate is not too high for negative profiles, but it's still okay-ish. It's 50%, that's okay. So every second swipe gets you a like. So let's take that as another set. And these are our negative profiles and bars and clubs. And just to have that in the same way, here we go. Okay, so now I'm interested in where do or when are these people active? Okay, so therefore I'm creating a new analysis where I have a look at these people over time. So therefore, I do what we already did before. I create a combined set, and I call that positive and negative profiles and bars and clubs. Okay, so let's filter on them. And now let's have a look at these guys over time. So therefore, I want to have a look at that on a 24-hour kind of thing. And let's put that on the pages so that you don't see everything from the early beginning. Say it again. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead. And then, yeah, let's keep that out for a second. And we just have a look at the likes we received and the likes we give. So now I'm just showing you step by step what's going on with them. Okay, so first of all, I mean, at 12 o'clock, they're still active. And let's show the history so that we see the changes over time. At 1 o'clock, still active. And then it's going down. And you can already see, like, likes given are higher than the one which get received. And yeah, 3 o'clock, still people are active. Yeah, the whole night. What do you think is going to happen at 7 o'clock in the morning? That was a good description. At least it starts to turn on. But maybe people over here don't wake up that early because here's the pool. Okay, so 8 o'clock, like most people are active and using the app. And then it goes down a little bit because people start to work. Some of them are still active, some of them not. And before 12 o'clock, it's going up again. So during lunch, it's kind of funny, just swiping to the left and to the right. At 2 o'clock, most of the people are working. I mean, look at that. Even at 2 o'clock, it's comparable to the nights. Before then, right, at 6 o'clock, it's going up again. Okay, so let's have a look at the same thing, but also I want to have the context of positive and negative sentiments for the profile so that we compare them against each other. So let's put the positive blue and the negative ones red. So let's do the same thing again. I mean, of course, we will see a similar behavior, but here's already a difference. So if somebody has a negative description in terms of the sentiment on its profile, they are not active during 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So even at 5 o'clock, there's still positive profiles out there, but no negatives. And just at 7 o'clock, also the negatives waking up, being active. And then, of course, it's similar behavior. Things are go up and down for both groups. And let's see what's happening after work. So at 6 o'clock, you see it's going up, like for people with a positive profile. Then, negative profiles don't give likes anymore. And yeah, you can see it, like the positive profiles down here, I mean, during 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock, these are, like, this is an interesting group because these are maybe the ones which get lucky during the night. Okay, so these are our lucky ones. So what are we doing with our lucky ones? Well, I want to know, I mean, we're talking about bars and clubs. What should you wear in a bar or in a club to actually like increase the ability to find somebody for you? So let's go ahead. Did we create that set? The lucky ones, yeah? Lucky ones, here we go. And let's have a look at what they should wear. 1 second, please. Excuse me. So let's go ahead. So I'm taking all the different closings on text, and I really want to have text. And I want to see that for the likes received again. That's the most important one. And now I'm filtering, first of all, on the positive and negative profiles, as well as our lucky ones. Okay, so here we go. So motorcycle boots, pretty popular. And an amazing smile. Skinny jeans. No clothing is also quite popular. Mickey Mouse costume. Tableau data sweatshirt. I mean, at least you have, I mean, tonight it's data night out. I'm definitely going to wear one of these, I promise. Okay, so that's the kind of thing you should wear. Armani suit is also really popular. Okay, cool. Okay, so that was like the beginning of it. Now let's bring that all together in one analysis, what we did. Okay, so we have enough time for that, plus questions. So I want to find like the city I need to be at with the target group I wanted to have. Okay, think about that like your target group, marketing, something like that. So therefore, I will have several different things I want to focus on in order to find the right place. So first of all, I wouldn't describe myself as an awesome looking person, but I would love to find somebody really awesome. So let's go to that XXX kind of thing, so our Facebook kind of data set. And first of all, so I want to find somebody who has a high score for the personal profile. So these are people who get in touch with many different persons. Like people are reaching out to them, giving likes, chatting, and doing stuff like that. And on the other hand side, I want this person, turning, I mean, how to describe that part? So if somebody has a low turns me on score, means they're getting in touch with profiles which are not rated too high, okay? So, and I want to have somebody who's right there to the left on the very top, and you will see that in a second. So let's go for profile information. Somewhere we have ID. And let's filter on gender female. That's my target group. And I want to find somebody who rates herself really high or gets a high score from our scoring algorithm, as well as I want to be her okay with somebody who has not like a really awesome profile. That's how you do it. That's how you get such a high rating, like matching score. Okay, so this is my female target group, or females with low expectations. Okay, let's move on. Next really important thing for me is the age group. So let's have a look for all the different ages we are having, and let's break that down by the amount of profiles. So let's go for count distinct on the profile IDs. And you see some spikes over here, 38 and 51 and 46. Well, I need something a little bit younger than that. So let's move for this age group between 26 and 36. So this is my target age group. Okay, now let's move in to the interesting cities. So when is a city interesting for you as single? Well, I can tell you. So first of all, let's get all the cities over here. So there are quite some. And the first really important measure for me is that the city has like a lot of female people over there. Okay? So let's create a first calculation which is giving me the amount of female per city. So let's create a LOD function which gives me a fixed number per city, and I'm going to do that as a sum. And let's calculate in the way that if gender equals female, I want to count a 1, otherwise a 0. Okay, so this gives me amount of female per city. So let's call that amount of female per city. First really important measure. Let's put it over here. And the second really important measure is the ratio of male and female in that city, of course. So it should be high. So let's duplicate that one. And at this point in time, I am going to just add one more thing to it. I'm going to divide that by a count distinct of all the different users, which is like just the sum of all users in that city. So this is the female ratio. Okay, let's also put that in here. And then you can see something like 10 Mile Ranch or whatever that is. It just has one female, or over here, Abbott, one female. So really high ratio, but I mean, that doesn't help me at all if there's just one. So, well, to be honest, it depends on her. But just to make sure, if it's not the number 1, we should create another set, which is just giving me the top 10, like on the female count kind of thing. So top 10 cities with high female amount. And I take that and put it on the filter. Where are we? Top 10 cities. Okay, so these are the important cities, and you can see the ratio quite differs a lot. And I mean, having like 13% ratio is already high. So you need to make a good analysis to figure out like these 427 females. So let's come to a conclusion. Because I am really interested in where are they and what is their profile all about. So therefore, let's have a look at that geographically. And I want to filter on all these different sets. Well, I could now drag and drop that all to the filters. But something we didn't do yet is using that in a calculation. So what I could do is just simply say, female with low expectations, I want to filter on, as well as, you kind of like the female with low expectations, right? I like it too. Then the top 10 cities, and the target age group. So you can also make that more complex, like, okay, at least there must be one set which you want to match, and then the other is fine. So you can go crazy with that. That's an easy example, but this is my target group. So we have the age, we have top 10 cities, and we have females with low expectations. Now let's take that set, that target group, and let's put it on the filter shelf. And just if that equals to true, I want to see that. Well, we reduced the data set from 6,000 to just 5 marks. I hope there's something in there. So maybe just a double check. Gender on color, all red. Sounds good. The next thing we want to have a check on is the nickname, because that tells a lot about somebody. So let's try that. So we have Ellie, we have Butterfly 85, Cutie Pie. I don't know about that one. Board with live end, okay. Interesting. Let's have a look at the profile text. So what are we looking for? So turns me on, profile description. Maybe we have a look at the profile description. And I hope it's not the wrong field, because otherwise shout out butterfly, okay? Let's see. Schmetterling, yeah, you're right. I hope that was just a check and not that I just need to close my laptop now. Okay, so Cutie Pie is saying you won't be disappointed. Looking for man and woman. Passion, kisses, and ... Seeking happy, okay. Let's stay with just these two. The other ones are a little bit scary. I mean, I won't be And let's see what they are searching for. Okay, so let's put that on the label. And okay, so single female seeking males. Okay, no, that's the wrong field. It's just telling me what they're searching for generally. Maybe they have something more concrete looking for. Let's replace that. So she's looking for, I like gent with good, hearty, dirty mind and great hands, as I have the curves that need attention. Well, I at least should give her a try. And then married, couple of kids, looking for someone's side action. Wait, just kidding. Single, 3 Tamagotchis, looking for someone to bring to family events so they will stop asking something's wrong with me. So I will head over to Houston after the conference. Okay, cool. So what did you see throughout the session? So you learned about hot, dirty data sets. You saw how to create basic sets, so dynamic, static ones, and how to combine these together. And then at the end, you saw a whole bunch of sexual analysis and how you can make use of that. There are just 2 more slides. So one is please provide us with feedback. So to have sessions like that, you really need to have good arguments so that they allow you to make these next year as well. So please provide us with feedback. And then I really hope that you took something out of the session next to the awesome data set and that you're using sets more often in your daily basis. And I will end with a short little video which is showing you a German, first day in his job, and the level of English he's able to speak. I want you to be able to deal with sets after the session at least. Please do more than that. And what you see at the very beginning is just his manager giving him like the first introductions about how he should work over there.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Cool. I hope you're more comfortable with sets after that session. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.